My friends and I, like a lot of you, like to play games together. It's what it's all about. And something I've noticed in the past couple months is that about 75% of all the games that we bounce between are all Ubisoft games. Which got me thinking, is Ubisoft kind of the masters of the games as a service model? Obviously, games as a service has a very negative stigma attached to it because there are a lot of companies that are doing it wrong. But I would like to argue that maybe Ubisoft has it figured out. There's also a lot of people that have a negative connotation attached to Ubisoft themselves. They did have a bit of a stumbling time a couple years back. I'd say probably around the time Watch Dogs was released. That was when they kind of hit their bottom. But I'd also like to make a little bit of an argument that maybe they're turning themselves around. Who knows? So follow along. I'll try to explain myself here. I'm going to break this up into three main categories. One, making a base game that is worth playing. Two, making free content that compels you to return to the base game. And three, making paid content that is actually worth your money. So with that, let's get right into it. The first point is making a base game worth playing. If you look at a game like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, it's a massive game without doing anything more than spending your $60 into it. It's got content out the ass. And whether or not you like that content is, of course, subjective. But if you're the kind of person that likes the Assassin's Creed Odyssey gameplay loop, like myself, then you will find easily 100 hours of content here just to mess around in. And I mean, it can't be that bad because when's the last time an Assassin's Creed game was nominated for Game of the Year? Like Odyssey was last year. If you look at Ghost Recon Wildlands, it's a very well done open world sandbox game that lets you just kind of do whatever you want. It has its own shortcomings, of course, but looking at just the base game, if you want to get into a sandbox military shooter, Ghost Recon Wildlands is your place to go. Looking at their multiplayer focus games like Rainbow Six Siege and For Honor, the base game is completely okay to play. There's a lot of games that when they release their base game and then they start releasing new characters, those new characters are just overpowered and broken and they never really get fixed. But Rainbow Six Siege has done a really, really good job of keeping the base operators competitively viable. So even if you can only pick like Thatcher or somebody, one of the other first couple operators that were released, you can still be a huge benefit to the team because Thatcher's ability is still really well balanced. There's also For Honor. The 9 or so warriors that it released with are excellent still. You can still kick ass with them as long as you know what you're doing. More recently, the Division 2 released, and that base game is also just a ton of content to grind through and play if that's looter shooters, is what you like. Obviously, the Division 1 was kind of a misstep in this category, but they learned their lesson from that, and they've released the Division 2 addressing a lot of the concerns of the Division 1. As the easiest counterpoint to this, I would argue Anthem. Recently released. I could use Anthem probably to counter all three of these points, but I'm just going to use it here in making a base game worth playing. Once you get towards the end game of Anthem, there is no reason to keep playing. They have it set up so that even playing on the higher difficulties isn't as rewarding as playing as like the GM1 because your time investment, it doesn't inversely meet you with more rewards. So there's no point to play on the highest difficulty tiers and there's not good loot to get. So the base game itself is not a rewarding experience. It brings me into point 2, making free content that compels you to return. Again, looking at Assassin's Creed Odyssey, that game gets a patch like every 2 weeks that gives you some kind of new mercenary to go out and hunt. It's got weekly missions that let you grind out for this Orichallium stuff that lets you buy some cosmetics. Or new weapons. Every patch introduces something new to the game that just massively improves it. Like, they've added, since I've started playing the game when it was first released, they've added loadouts. They've increased the level cap a couple times. They've added an easy way to respec. They've added a way to wear whatever armor you want, but make it look like whatever other armor you want, which is all positive improvements. And then, of course, there's the counter argument that, well, if they're just going to keep making the game better, what's the point of buying it when it first releases? If when you buy it in a year, it's just going to be greatly improved. And this goes back to the first point, making a base game worth playing. The game, when it first launched, was already a pretty outstanding game. All this stuff is just making it better and making it more worth your time. And it's also enticing people that maybe have set the game down when it was first released to come back into it and check out all this new shit. All the other games that I've been talking about, Rainbow Six Siege does a year content and seasons within that year. Every season introduces new operators and a new map. The new maps are free for anybody, and the new operators can be purchased with in-game currency that you get just by playing the game. For Honor does the same thing. Ghost Recon Wildlands has a bunch of updates, Ghost Recon Wildlands is the one that surprises me the most, because I thought it would receive lukewarm reception when it first came out, but they're still updating it with all this stuff. Like this past week, they released a patch that introduces the Punisher into it, Frank Castle, and they've had one that adds a new difficulty. They've had one that adds a PvP mode. They have a patch that introduces the fucking Predator into the game. Like, they just keep adding more content to this game, and the base game is worth playing already. And so you are okay hopping back into this already good game to check out this awesome free content. A counterexample to a game that doesn't do this quite as well, I would say probably Black Ops 4. Just recently released. The free content is barely even there. What they have is their battle pass, which you can grind through, or of course you can buy extra tiers, because why wouldn't you be able to? But nothing is worth really going back into. And something I want to talk about, but I'm going to save it for the next point, which is making paid content worth buying. All these Ubisoft games have outstanding cosmetic options that are worth your money. Assassin's Creed Odyssey has some freaking awesome skins for both Cassandra and your ship, and also your horse. Ghost Recon Wildlands, awesome skins. The skins that are in Rainbow Six are all fantastic skins. And only the highest tier skins you need to buy with real money. You can grind out these lower, like the palette swap skins. You can buy those with money that you earn just by playing the game. So, like, the paid content is actually worth your money. The cosmetics are cool and well done, and you want to buy them, but at the same time, you don't have to buy them in order to be competitive. They also have season passes, of course, which lets you buy access to the new operators or new warriors in the case of For Honor. And, like, that's pretty great, because you can earn them just by playing if you want, or you can buy them outright and support the game, because it's been going on for like 4 years now, and just get the operators. And plenty of people do that, and I don't think they feel pressured to do that. They do it because they like the game and they want to keep playing it. And I'm going to go back to Black Ops 4 for this, but the paid content in there, not only is it everywhere, but it also sucks, because they release a map pack and you need that map pack in order to play the new maps. So if, like, your buddy has the map pack and you don't, you guys can't play those maps together, and it just divides the player base. And I can't believe that that's still a problem that we have in this day and age. Of people haven't realized that splitting up your player base is just going to negatively impact your game every time. Like, you'll make more money from people buying map packs, but then no one will have anyone to play with, so it's pointless, and it makes your game look bad when compared to these other games that, a la Ubisoft, are doing very good jobs. So those are my 3 main points. I hope I explained it well enough. Also, of course, it's important to note that Ubisoft isn't the only company doing a good job. You got games like Warframe that are completely free and just rich with free content that you can get into, and they also have things that you can buy if you want to, but you can earn all of it just by playing. You got, although I might not like the game very much, you have something like Smite, which is completely free, and you can buy all of the gods that they release just by playing the game too. I mean, there's plenty of examples of games as a service done right. There's more notable examples of games as a service done wrong, which kind of give it a bad street cred, I guess. But I think Ubisoft really is kind of leading the charge in how you should be doing this games as a service, and I really hope other companies kind of take note of the way they're doing it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for watching. Please, I want to start a discussion with this. Drop a comment on what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.